All right, prepare a slab of clay and make the slab of clay just big enough so that it will accommodate our forms here, but with a little extra on the outside and some stuff on the side as well. Looks pretty good. So now what I'll do is take my rib here and compress the slab in two different directions. The usual. It looks like it's making some marks, so maybe I got to clean my rib a little bit. So now I don't want to put these a ways away from each other. We want them to be next to each other. So if we push it on the slab, it all moves together, stays together. Now we can take the slab here and drape that finished side over the form. Maybe want to even just kind of gently push down in there while you're at the space to give it a little more room. Then drape it over the top. All right, so first we want to use a light pressure, like usual. And see, we can. These are really critical to have that clay nice and thick or evenly, because sometimes we're going to stretch and stress the clay on these two middle sections. So see how I'm kind of pushing the clay towards the form, and it's so it's not stretching it or squishing it. And so once we get that, see there's a nice little air pocket here, we can kind of push that away. And now with a medium pressure, I can go along these edges here. Before I get too far, I want to just gently push on this other side here. Some people like to use like a paintbrush end or a dowel, something to kind of help kind of move that down in there a little bit. But I'd be really cautious because it can create a lot of stress right here, so we don't want to overstretch the clay right here and right here. So you have an idea. This side. I like to use my littlest rib for this project, so because it gives me a little more detail with these sides. It's shorter and a little more control. And so here I am using a rib to make sure that I get that finished compression pressure to make sure that all sides are compressed evenly. I like to just cut this edge. I like to cut it a little wide. Gives me some room to kind of adjust that once it's leather hard. And then I can make kind of a nice kind of rounded off edge over here. And if you don't like eyeballing it, you can use a ruler to kind of give yourself a straight edge and a measurement to kind of create those edges. All right. Now we'll use my foot maker. Basically taking this cutting through the clay. Might need to recut this because it probably just push this back together. Now we can remove all the extra clay. Now what we can do is remove our strips of clay here. And I would let these set up if the clay is really moist for 20 to 30 minutes. That's enough time to go make a coffee, change your Shopify channel, get a wine, whatever your device. So what I can do is cut these kind of in half. And what I want to do then is lay them over. This is the tedious part, so I probably don't need much filming. So we're cutting out a little bevel here. I'm going all the way across, and yes, I'm going to do all three. So I'll be impressed if I see your segmented trays with a foot. I know a lot of you like to skip this step. It just makes a really nice piece, so I highly encourage you. I will give you a good job if I see you with a foot on your segmented tray. But that's your choice. You're the maker. So we'll continue this process throughout all 3 of these. Just clean that up. Make sure it's nice and joined together. So now, take away some of the scraps here. So now what we can do is gently lift, pull towards us to release it. This is going to be a little tricky. I'm going to take 3 of these spacers. Actually, we'll just leave them together like so, because they should be joined in the middle. I'm going to set these on top. And that way I can push this outside edge down, kind of create this nice angle on my lip here. See how that works? And then just gently on this other side here. Probably don't want to push all the way down. It's quite shallow. Or steep, I guess. Now I let this dry until it becomes leather hard where we can pick up the whole thing. And then we can come back and touch up all these little burgers and crazy little burrs with our, we come back when it's dry and fix this up, or on the side use the rasp, and then finish off with kind of cleaning these edges with our rounding rib. Sat overnight, basically, probably uncovered for about 6 to 8 hours, and then covered loosely with plastic for the remainder of the time. You can see now how I can just kind of lift this up, and it will not flex. It's at a really nice stage. Yesterday, when I was making it, the clay was quite wet, so I left this a lot of undone. So now today I can come back and kind of touch up all my areas here. I'm just going to start out with doing that here while I've got some support under there. And so now I can then just kind of clean those up with this nice little tool. I can clean up some of this other areas here. I just want to clean up some of the major parts here first. And then I can come back and touch it up here in a minute after I kind of address the other areas as well. So here we are. You can see I have these 3 different forms put together. Create these nice kind of segments in between right this area here. And yeah, it'll look great. I put them on some spacers because I have this little bit of an angle on the side. Alright, so first we want to use this Stanley shear form. And it works good to kind of clean these edges up and remove any clay, even out the edges. It's nice, it's got this kind of rounded edge because it kind of glides along the clay and removes any kind of protruding clay. There we go. Move back to my favorite rounding rib here, cleanup tool. Notched rib. I can clean up these bottom areas here. You can put as much time on this as you want. I want to just make sure there's not any kind of rough areas that will have to feel like I have to worry about it when I'm using it. And watch out for those little pieces that are sticking on there because they can cling to the bottom of your piece real easy. Now from here you can kind of see that this clay is out here and that it's basically going to hold things down. It also aesthetically kind of looks nicer as well, kind of helps everything kind of come together. So it's a great way of kind of managing that dryness. So now we'll put this on an undrafted area until it becomes bone dry, then I can put it into the kiln.